Hey everybody, welcome back to Pop's Custom Cars. As we say in the channel, or as I say on my channel, life gets in the way sometimes of the stuff that I got to do in the garage. This week is no exception. We got a issue. Yesterday I went to take a shower and there was no hot water. I thought somebody else was taking a shower or used it all up or whatever it was. And came home, mentioned it, and found out, yeah, we haven't had hot water for a few days. How I didn't know, there's been water in the tank, but evidently it got used up. So here's what you do, and here's how you find out. Mind you guys, I am not a plumber. I do this just to show you guys what I do. If you do this, consult a professional. This is not something you want to play around with, especially considering this is a gas unit. So let's get to it. So as I said in the intro video, this is a professional job. Most of the time, you guys aren't going to tackle this kind of thing unless you feel real comfortable with it. This is not an instructional video at all. This is just showing you what I did to replace this water heater and how I figured out what was wrong with it. So let's start with figuring out what's wrong with it, and that way you guys can kind of see. This is generally the thing that happens to all of them. So as you can see, they were good enough to put an installation date on here, and they installed this on 7/2008. So that tells you this unit has been around for a minute. So 10 years, over 10 years it's been here. Actually 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. So you got 17-year-old water heater, so it's about that time. This is a better unit, has a little bit better warranty, or should say had. It's dead now. Came down and noticed that I didn't hear the burner on, so the first thing I did was check the burner. Now I didn't turn on the lights and see what you see down there at the bottom. That's your indication that the water heater's tank has rusted through or what have you. So even though it's been serviced its whole life, it's a self-cleaning unit, it still has run its course, and it is time to replace it. To replace it, we're going to need to do a few things. First thing we did was we shut off our gas, because we don't want gas going to it while you're doing it. And then the other thing we have to do is disconnect all of our lines on the top. As you see, I've got my adjustable wrench, my pipe wrench, a screwdriver, but first I've got to drain this tank. So that's what we're going to do first, and that's the icky part. So let's get to that first. So the first thing we're going to have to do is drain this tank. There's a drain right there at the bottom. Make sure that this is all turned off. This is on pilot lighting right now. We want to make sure that it's off. Other way. So that is our off position. We've got our gas turned off here at that valve, so we're good there. So we're shut off here, and we just have to drain the tank with this right here. Let me go up, and they were gracious enough to leave the valve, the turn off valve right there. So there is a drain in the floor, so that makes it really nice. I do need to move some of this stuff out of the way because there's probably a considerable amount of water in there, but we're going to find out here real quick. And it is nice having a basement with a drain. And this is not a regular one. This is a screwdriver. So I did bring a pipe wrench, an adjustable wrench, and a Phillips and a regular screwdriver with me. So it turned out that the drain was also clogged along with the pipe, so that definitely stopped that. And one of the things this thing did was it actually turned itself off, which I thought was pretty interesting. I've never seen one do that. I figured that must be a safety feature. Probably a good one to have, because otherwise it would have just kept trying to heat water up that wasn't there. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the gas line. And again, take precautions here. If you've never messed with this, don't mess with it now. It's not something to learn. So the next thing we've got to remove is the flue, and then these two lines here. The lines do have this insulation on them, so you just pull that back. The flue is relatively easy. There's a few screws in it, so you just undo your screws. Let me get the screwdriver. Pull this back a little bit because it's kind of in the way right now. And this right here. So there's a screw here. And pull this apart. We'll shut the water off, pull this off, pull the whole mechanism off, and then we can close this valve and at least turn the water on for the time being. But this is the main shutoff coming in, and the way these water heaters are, it says on the top of it cold and hot, so you know which side's which. But yeah, let me finish taking the flue off first.
So after removing the flue, I actually got it to loosen up a little bit and come off that way. I didn't have to do much but take a few screws out, get it to twist a little. And once that was done, I could take off the actual attachment on the water line. So the vent itself, the top did not come with my new one, which I thought was kind of interesting. So I went ahead and reused the other one. Now I did end up having to turn off the water. The shutoff valve works great, but you can't twist it on that line. So I pulled the feed off, or not the feed, but the water out to all the appliances, all the hot water. And the water that came out of it, that black yucky color that you see, is actually what's inside that tank, which I thought was pretty disgusting. One of the nice things about this my utility room is there is a drain in the utility room, and there's also a drain in the laundry room, so that's kind of a nice thing. I don't have to use a pan underneath this or anything, or worry about the leak, because it's going to drain right outside that drain. So like I said, I did have to go shut off the main house water supply line in order to get that whole assembly apart. I removed the flue, and then I started pulling off the valve. Thought I could get it off there without turning off the water, but yeah, that's not the case. If you notice, the copper pipe is spinning with it, and we don't want to crinkle up that line. So I did end up shutting off the water so that I could pull this valve off, and then I'll install the valve on the new one, and that way everything is ready to go. So cold line's off along with that, and so I went ahead and moved to taking that valve off. It's good to have a ball valve on there. I would have put it farther up the line, but it is what it is. Then I installed the ball valve on the new water heater, cranking it tight and making sure that I've got that in place, because it's always good to have a shutoff. That way you don't have to worry about if something happens to your hot water or your water, you can shut down the hot from the mechanical room. I finished unhooking the gas line and started to move it, and oh my goodness, it did not want to move. It was not empty. I figure it probably had 30 to 40 gallons of water in it. And if you do the math on that, it's somewhere between 130 and 150 pounds of water alone, plus the weight of the unit itself. So moving it was not an easy task. I got the dolly underneath it to get it away from the wall so that I could walk it. And I can tell you that walking a 180-pound water heater is no fun. So right now it has been a few days. It's still down in the basement and it's still draining. So now we're bringing the new one in. And I'll tell you what, after moving that heavy duty one, or the heavy one, this one was way easier to put in place. Of course, I had my wife there to watch the back so that I didn't break anything. And then it's just a matter of reversing everything you did. I did use a white pipe dope. It's kind of a nice stuff to use, because you can use it on metal, plastic, pretty much anything. So you've got a good secure connection. What I thought was weird is on the gas line, they actually put the white tape on there, and it's a flared fitting. So it's like, I don't understand their concept, but I guess they really wanted to make sure that it didn't leak. So now we put the flue back on. We've got the hot and the cold side back on. This whole process, I think the longest part of this entire process was driving to get the new water heater So I go back, turn on the main, and you can hear the water running in. I didn't turn the main on full blast. I just turned it on part of the way, just to make sure that there were no leaks. And then once it topped itself off, I turned it on full blast, and just to make sure that I've got no leaks again, double check all my fittings, turn that water line on, and I went into my daughter's bathroom, which is right behind that wall, and turned on the hot water to get the air out. And then I went through the process of installing the gas line and then getting it to fire up. For fire up, I had to read the instructions because it's got a little light on it that tells you when the pilot's lit. I thought that was kind of cool, and it just sits there and blinks, and as long as it's blinking, your pilot light is on. So it was all good. Took a little while to figure it out, but once that's on and I get it lit, I just go through, make sure everything's not leaking, check all my gas lines, spray a little soapy water, make sure everything's good, light that burner, get everything going. And that is pretty much installing water.
We got our status lights blinking, so we're doing good there. It's venting properly. I do need to come in and put a couple more screws in this just to make sure it's in there well. And then maybe on this side also. Just put a couple in here just to make sure this stays steady and where it should be. It's in there pretty tight. We are heating the water, so about 20 minutes we should know for sure if it's working. Other than that, I just need to go register it and all that kind of fun stuff. So with that, any questions, comments, concerns, definitely send me a note. But looks like we got hot water again, so I'll see you in the next video. I'm gonna go take a shower.